All right, great. All right, so thank you guys for coming out for the last Pitch Night NYC of 2018. Feels very crazy to say that, considering how we started only a few months ago in this year and how far it's come. So thank you guys so much for being a part of it. And I want to give a quick thank you to Nomadworks. This is the space that you're in right now. And he's just going to say a couple quick words.
How we doing, everybody? My name is Adam. I'm the marketing manager here at Nomadworks, welcoming you all here to Pitch Night NYC, the last one of the year. And really quickly, you can see on your chairs, everybody got a free day pass. We welcome everyone that came out to the event today to come work with us for just a free co-working experience from now until whenever you feel like cashing that in. And also like to announce that the winner of tonight's Pitch Night will be receiving 2 free weeks of co-working here with us at Nomadworks. So that's always nice to have a space to work in, right? That isn't your apartment. So without further ado, I think we're going to kick things off here. James, if you take the mic, and everyone enjoy the pitches.
Thank you very much. Just a show of hands. Who celebrated Hanukkah here? Who's excited for Christmas here? All right. And who is using all of the holidays as an excuse to eat and drink? Perfect. All right. So we're going to have our judges, who are going to be the ones grading the pitches tonight, come up and introduce themselves real quick. So, would you like to kick it off?
Sure. I'm Gian. I work for Activate Venture Partners. We're an early stage venture fund. We focus a lot on healthcare technology, so I guess this is an apropos judging session.
Hi, Carlos Gutierrez. I'm a general partner at Impala Ventures. It's a VC firm and VC and strategic advisory firm that invests in property technology, and I'm also a managing director at Golden Seeds, which is an angel investment firm that invests in women-led tech-enabled companies.
Hey everyone, I'm David. I'm a principal at Blind Spot Partners. We help you know what you don't know, providing advisory analysis to startups. Just a couple of things in terms of what I'm looking for tonight is very clear definitions of what you do, what you perceive the need and the problem to be in the marketplace, and how that aligns to what you believe are your customer needs, and how you're going to make money. Thank you.
All right, thank you guys. And then the theme of tonight, if everybody hasn't found out already, we're going to be doing health tech, med tech themed startups. So quickly about the event. We're actually only going to have 3 companies tonight. One of our other ones who were supposed to pitch had a last minute meeting, which we wish him all the best at. The companies are going to pitch for 6 minutes each. So at 5-minute mark, you're going to hear 1 bell ding, and then at the 6-minute, you'll hear 2. That means that the time is up. And this is how we're going to grade the pitch. The judges are going to grade the pitch. The pitch is out of 10. The Q&A is out of 10. And then the business plan and the market strategy that they communicate are both out of 5. And just a couple items. If you could please put your phones on silent. And if anybody's taking pictures or videos, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, and you can use Pitch Night NYC. So without further ado, we're going to get started. And up first, we have Yofi Med.
Okay, so my name is Alina Bonsell. I'm CEO and founder of Yofi Med. I celebrated Hanukkah, and I know that Yofi in Hebrew means beauty. So I'm going to tell you about Anna, real person. She's a pharmacist. She lives in the Upper East Side. She's very much into her appearance. She's been getting Botox. She works late nights. It's very inconvenient. So on a day off, Anna found a cost-effective provider all the way in Brooklyn, takes the subway there and back, returns with that kind of forehead, blood specks, bruising, swelling, embarrassed, wishing she had privacy, wishing she didn't spend half her day going to Brooklyn for Botox that took 5 minutes. And this is not a problem just for Anna. This is a problem for many patients that are currently doing minimally invasive aesthetic injectable procedures, women that are getting facial fillers in their lips, temples, volumizing their faces, they all have these adverse events. Botox is for wrinkle correction, but basically the conflict here is the scheduling. They have to schedule these appointments far in advance. Often they have to reschedule. It's the inconvenience of traveling there and back, waiting in the waiting rooms, going outside with, the bruising and the swelling. And also cost. It's very confusing what these products cost and what is actually getting done and, the whole process. But these women do it, and they have to do it several times a year because these products are not permanent. They last 3 to 6 months. However, despite all these problems, it's still a booming market. Why is it a booming market? Well, because nowadays, it's no longer procedures for anti-aging like they used to be. Women as young as 18 years old are doing these because it's now considered preventative aging. As you can see the trajectory, it's rising. It's a $10 billion market globally. The US makes up 47% of that. The CAGR is growing between 11 and 13%, so it's gonna double in the next 5 to 7 years. And in a recent survey from I have it down there, 1 out of 3 Americans in the US are going to do this in the next 12 months. So that's why it's a good time to capitalize on this industry. So what is Yofi Med? 3 things. 1, it's a 2-sided marketplace connecting users to providers, aesthetic medical providers. 2, it is a 2-sided matchmaking marketplace where you could order this provider on demand that will come anywhere, anytime for any cosmetic injectable procedure. Number 3, it's safe, it's legal, it's convenient, it's private. And any medical doctor or nurse practitioner, physician's assistant can be an aesthetic provider. They can do this on their own free time when they have a day off on the weekends. There is no overhead of having a practice. They can translate a cost savings to their patients. The average cost, does anybody know what the average spend is on the procedure like this? They're really expensive. Anybody ever do it? Know anything? No? Okay. $600. No, it's $1,000. This is a statistic nationally. This is what a patient spends going to an office. And they have to spend this several times a year. So it's very expensive. And these doctors, they make cash. There's no commercial insurance. It's all cash. And people want to spend to look good, so it's they keep doing it. So, why me? Why my team? I've been in the pharmaceutical industry for 13 years. I specifically sold in this marketplace. I've worked at the, companies such as Allergan, Galderma, Johnson & Johnson. I've sold and launched all these products. I know the marketplace really well. I have a vast network of colleagues nationally, executive management, medical key opinion leaders, which are all supportive with this venture. My co-founder and CTO, he can't be here tonight, but he hails from San Francisco area. He has successfully founded and sold a company in cybersecurity, and he thinks that this is a great idea that's under the radar in Silicon Valley. So let me tell you about Brittany. Brittany's a real lifetime nurse. She's been a mobile provider for several years. She's been doing this on the side as an adjunct to her primary job. And she was able to see 12 to 14 patients and do cosmetic injectable procedures. I asked Brittany what her average patient spend was, and she said it was about $800, which makes sense because she was able to be more competitive than the brick and mortar providers or Medispas. So if Yofi takes 10% of every transaction, so hypothetically $80. We would need to transact 12,500 times to make $1 million. This seems like a very large number, but it's not, because if you break it down by 365 days, it's just 34 transactions. And if I have 17 Brittany's that do just 2 transactions, we're gonna hit this number. So it's very achievable. How will I launch this? Well, I'm going to focus on first 3 states. New Jersey's in our backyard, and we have New York. And then, Florida, because I just have a lot of connections there. But so between these 3 markets, that's 20 million women. 80% 80% of the market is women, 20% is men. I'm not even factoring the opportunity there. But just focusing on 20 million women ages 18 to 70, again, I think our metric is very achievable in generating 12,500 transactions. So what does Yofi need? Can't see the spreadsheet really well, but what do we need? I think $300,000 would be sufficient for us to build an amazing platform, an iOS app, and we actually are thinking about developing a technology that would automate the consulting, portion of this product. And the rest would be spent on insurance, some malpractice insurance, some insurance for the company, marketing initiatives, and other tactics. So our competitive advantage. The next time you meet, we're done? Okay, I'm done. I was just doing my close, okay.
We're going to turn it over to Q&A now, so you'll have plenty more time to answer what's left. But who wants first?
All right, great job. 2 questions. One, are there any issues with liability? And 2, with someone related to the first question, will you be doing vetting of providers before they are on the platform?
So every medical provider that we are going to bring on board, and we already started to do paper transactions, and we've been finding providers very easily. I put actually a LinkedIn ad, and I've had a lot of interest, and we've been doing conference calls, and there's definitely a vetting process that I can do myself, because it's very easy to verify their licensure. There's like state sites. First, I will ask them to have their own malpractice insurance. And secondary, we're looking into extra liability insurance as a practice. We want to have it as an added value, similar to like what Airbnb offers their hosts, a secondary coverage. So I think that would limit off-platform transactions if we can provide that value. Did I answer both questions?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks.
How are you going to get just consumer demand, understand the provider side?
Viral. There's already so much. I mean, one person does it, they call their friends. I mean, everybody wants to do it, and what we've been hearing is a lot of people don't know how to go about getting it. A lot of people rely on word of mouth. They don't know where to go. People at this point go to Groupon. A lot of people want to do it, but there's a barrier because it seems difficult. A lot of practitioners charge money for a consultation. We won't. We'll do this kind of digitally. When people have to pay money for a consultation, they're kind of manipulated to spend money, and then they're told, well, we'll apply it to your procedure, and they don't know what it's going to cost, and then it's a huge amount, and then they decide not to do it. So it turns people away from getting consults and moving forward with the process. So we're going to create.
You haven't tested AdWords or anything like that, or any type of customer acquisition channel?
Growth hacking. I mean, we're going to do all kinds of stuff as far as user acquisition. I don't think that's going to be the challenge. I mean, even now we have about 8 providers that we vetted. We don't even want to go further because we want to kind of do a small cohort sample. And right now we're just kind of evaluating procedures at patients' homes and the whole consultation back and forth just to kind of learn before we develop the software, so that we don't make any mistakes and we make it as easy and streamlined as possible. So.
I have to sort of slightly recuse myself because I have been working a little bit with Alina, but I do have some questions. Do you know if consumers actually have concerns about these procedures being done in home versus what might be the perceived safety of an office visit, for example?
So we did a survey. We're still in the process of collecting all the data. We have 37 completed responses. And there's an overwhelming desire to get this at their home. They don't want to travel. They want to do this in the evenings when they get home from work. If the price point is the same, or even some have said as long as it's not a price or a lag, meaning if it's not too much more than what they're used to paying, the convenience of this alternative is great because it's not been done yet. Nobody's doing this on a national level. And we have other women that see this as a social experience where they would invite several girlfriends, have wine. They'll be more comfortable, more relaxed because they have anxiety, sitting in an office, and they see the doctor and the needle and the whole medical setup, and this creates a different atmosphere.
And I'm a little unclear in terms of your long-term ambition. Is it more an Angie's List type referral service or a full service to the consumer in home?
This is my entree to be a healthcare disruptor. I picked this because I obviously know this market and these products really well, and it's cash. But the overall vision is to provide this sort of service for a variety of minimally invasive procedures. For example, glaucoma. Patients have to get an injectable in their eye every month if they want to see. These are elderly patients that have a hard time getting to an office. This doesn't have to be this way. Pain management, injections, epidurals in their back for people that can't walk or sit upright. They don't have to suffer and go there every month. Somebody could come to them. These are my long-term visions, and this is just, kind of testing the hypothesis here with this, because I'm pretty sure it's going to work.
Yeah. Carlos, do you have any more questions?
I'm done? Sure. I can ask. So just going back to your go-to-market strategy, you mentioned Florida later, and you mentioned you have a lot of connections there.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Who are these connections? What does it look like? What will it take to really scale in Florida or even in New York? Or could you talk a little bit more about what that looks like? Scaling.
First we need to get the providers on board. So I've worked at many companies, and I have former colleagues that live in Fort Lauderdale, Miami, that are still in this industry, that are selling breast implants or other aesthetic items. First of all, it's very easy to scale because I could just put a LinkedIn ad and I can get people from those markets to apply to my LinkedIn ad. So for me to get these providers is going to be simple, but I need people like that are going to kind of vet them for me and make sure that they are going to provide good outcomes, right? Because that is the biggest concern, is that they're going to, they're the face of the company essentially, and we want people to have good results and good outcomes. As far as users go, that's marketing, right? So, once we put ourselves on social media and all these other things, people are going to sign up and try the app, and we just need to make sure we can provide, the supply to meet the demand of it and provide good service.
Thank you.
So, how big of a market would just New York be for you?
There's 4.5 million women just in New York alone.
Do you know how many cosmetic procedures or how many of these Botox injections are done in New York New York City?
I used to cover New York as a territory manager, and there's 500 dermatologists, plastic surgeon, medi spas all around just Manhattan. It's not even New York, and they're all busy. And I actually went to a plastic surgeon that was an account of mine. And I, just did some market research, and I wanted to speak to him just to kind of see what he thought about the idea. And I spoke to his office manager, and and I said, "Is it true? I'm doing all this research. There's all this demand, and it's supposed to double." And she's like, "No, my God! In the last 2 years, we have to hire 2 extra physician's assistants. We have to have hours on the weekend, and expand our hours in the evening, just because we have to keep up with the demand." And she's totally agrees with all the research that I've been finding on this market.
Great job. Give me a round of applause. I know if I was a woman and had to get stuff stuck in my face, I wouldn't want to be on the subway after that. But all right. Up next, we have Phage.
Third Mean Girls Day 2018. I might need that. Are we started yet? You better start. So, the biggest problem we have about healthcare is people are always promising that patients are first, but very rarely are patients ever first. We usually think about a disease before we ever think about a patient, and I want to invert that paradigm. So there's a couple of players in the field. We got manufacturers, they're the ones that produce the pharmaceuticals or medical devices. We have the payers, which are the insurance companies, which are covering the risk of capital loss across all of their lives that they enroll under their plan. We have providers, the ones that administer those costs, and the patients, really the cattle, the sharecrop, the end user and blind consumer for this entire process. So if I say healthcare right now, everyone probably has a visceral response. That's very expensive, it's difficult. I don't really know how to manage it. So what Phage is looking to do is 3 education opportunities across the gaps. First one, what is available for me? Second one, what is best for me? And third, where is it accessible for me? What I want to impress is the importance of access. If I have precision medicine and if I have payer profiling and I have awareness of a therapeutic, if I can't access it, I wasted my entire time focusing on the first two aspects. So what Phage has done is we are a database right now. We are looking to start building up more APIs. We're supporting hubs for manufacturers at this point in time to help them with their utilization management of their therapeutics. All that means is how a patient gains access to a therapeutic. Do they have to go through a prior authorization? Do they have to try a really crappy pill before they get to try a decent pill, before they get to try an okay pill? So this can be a portal that we're supporting. This is one that we are supporting. It can be locked behind an MPI login, so we can actually start tracking which providers are trying to utilize this platform. And this is some of the information that we're actually supporting for that aspect. I can go into this in more detail, but I only have 6 minutes. So this is our database, blah, blah, blah. What we're looking to do is to develop a user experience that's going to be similar to Yelp for pharmaceuticals. So I can go to a Walgreens to get a generic, I can go to a CVS and get a branded pharmaceutical, I can go to Costco and get a 12-pack. I don't know this unless I go to every one of those locations. And usually each person goes to one pharmacy and they fill everything at that location, which is not cost effective whatsoever. So we're going to work with notifications, engagement. There's going to be a portal. We don't have any of that. My background, I'm a very fantastic PhD, MD dropout. I didn't realize I hated patients and doctors and hospitals and nurses until I finished my program, so I didn't. Market opportunity, we have the entire United States of America. The goal is to be national, international. But right now we have an accessible point for United States accessibility across the payer landscape. There's a lot of payers, those are numbers, we can talk about those later. Revenue model, how will I make money off of this? Not from patients. Patients are costing their life, their time, their families, so we're gonna start making money off their data. So what we're going to be able to provide to payers is using our proprietary sprawler and our ontology and our schema and our database and be able to plug into their hubs. We're allowing them to really get a better ability to do value-based care contracting. All that really means is we have expensive therapeutics coming to market. I have no idea how to manage the cost of those therapeutics. For manufacturers, we can actually start doing geographic targeting. We can do forecasting for therapeutics that are going to launch, come to the market. We can do clinical trial design, which is the ultimate end goal of Phage. Right now, I'm trying to make decent, okay, maybe crappy drugs accessible to patients. I want to start making better drugs from the start, but I got to start somewhere. Providers can have better patient engagement. They can have more strategic operations of patient interaction. They can do a lot more with the little time they have seeing patients. So there's more verticals we can talk to. This is where I want to spend most of my time. Awesome. So traction so far, we have impacted 27 million covered lives up to date. So when I say impacted, I do a lot of advocacy with the payers. If there's a drug that someone should have access to and I don't agree how they're limiting access, I advocate for the manufacturers to make it less onerous, to make it less inaccessible, and sometimes work with costs, but costs aren't my forte, so I just make it more easily to access. Cost is downstream of what we're going to look to do. We're working with all the top pharma companies right now. When I say all top, that means the ones that have the most impact on covered lives. Benefit investigation, we're supporting hubs with the data feeds from our databases that are trying to stay up to date with all this information across the payer landscape. Pipeline, I have a very large pipeline. I have 5,000 simulated users because I don't have a user experience, but I'm able to help patients route this entire convoluted structure. I'm helping 74% of them save at least 30% of costs going forward to get better access to more advanced therapeutics. Right now, we have about $928,000 in revenue as of Sunday. As of today, that's now at 1.2 million. It's been a very busy week. So we also have a lot of integrated research and partner companies that are supporting these efforts because right now it's me and a team of 6, and I could use a lot of help. So we've taken no investors up to date. It's been bootstrapping from my consulting up to this point in time and taking the revenue and putting it back into the company. So right now what we're trying to do is apply for grant innovations and really focus on non-dilutive capital. So what the goal of what we're going to build into the future is an educational sprawler. So right now we have a sprawler for coverage documents, prior authorization forms. We have a very robust database. It's updated on a daily basis. We're going to start building the patient user experience of what we want to have that Yelp for pharma. We want to start providing provider access so they can have a portal for telemedicine, telehealth. One of the biggest difficulties of telehealth is really finding out how to reimburse for that. And that's the thing that we've already figured out. Now we just got to make the webcam and all that gobbledygook. 15 months from now, we want to start doing clinical trial support. We're looking to have evidence-based medicine in the far future, but we got to start working with the products that we have currently in the market right now. And 15 months, we should have a better parsing mechanism for this wealth of information that we're working with, as opposed to using a lot of man hours to produce the efforts we're trying to get into. And I think I have 10 seconds left, so I'd rather just finish there. Sorry for rushing and yelling, but healthcare is not simple.
Great job. Thank you. Who wants it first?
Can you just explain, you made $1.2 million this year already, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Like, what did you make it on? Like, do you have a...
Seeing the access to the database that we currently have, building the APIs to allow it to fit into their hub systems. Our payer universe, even just the ID mapping of that data, is an onerous task for an IT group for multiple industries. And our sophisticated ontology of how we're actually mapping this data. So
you sold it to payers or pharma, or you've sold it to everyone? Like,
all the above except for patients, because we don't take revenue from patients.
and so to date, you've sold it to all these different people, you're saying?
Providers are the lower tier, payers are the next tier, and the most highest tier that we have been working with are the manufacturers.
Okay, so talking about data, what are the regulations governing, or if any, that impact your business, governing the data of the patients? Do you foresee any regulatory changes that could impact your business model?
Yeah.
And yeah, if you could talk a little bit more about that.
So since we're focused on the United States market, I don't want to have to worry about the European data regulations until I go into Europe. So I'm going to focus on domestic America. So right now I have no patient identifying information. I don't have patient data directly. I only have cost data and accessibility data and payer information that I'm supplying to manufacturers, payers, and providers and patients in the near future. So up to this point in time, I don't really have to worry about the regulatory aspect of patient data, but I will have to become HIPAA compliant if I'm going to start licensing the patient data directly back to the manufacturers, especially when you go into value-based care contracting. So it is hurdles that we'll have to cross, and the regulatory environment of patient health data is going to be a dynamic conversation in the next 10 years. So I just have to keep my finger to the pulse of the market and have a great legal team. Preventatively, not responsively.
Thanks.
How do you deal with a Medicare environment?
It sucks. It's a huge question.
Yeah, but and it's a huge part of the market as well.
So contracting Medicare services is going to cover,
Yep.
yeah. So if we look at this map somewhere that I skipped numbers because they're inconsequential at this point in time, CMS is about 38 million covered lives across the United States of America. This is just for the small region that I've searched for. So that makes it the top third provider or payer covering the cost of those lives. And Medicare is a beast because I have to work about formularies, I have to worry about pharmacy versus medical benefits, I have to worry about biosimilars or entrance to the market. And they are the ones that usually cover the products first, and I have to manage that coverage as well. So Medicare services would love to have a company, which they already do, that would allow them to have a better insight to the therapeutics coming to market, therapeutics that they're trying to manage, and also trying to see how the other payers are managing those costs. So they do a lot of innovative efforts, but they still sort of replicate the other payers that are doing innovations at their own end. But CMS is not an easy answer.
And that's why United Healthcare is the largest.
I think they're the largest because they have the most people, so more numbers. Yes, well, they have Medicare contracts, or like Noridian or Palmetto or the First Coast Services. Server contracts those different CMS organizations. So it's, even mapping the payer industry is a headache. So that's why I can sell that data pretty proficiently.
So going back to the first question, of the 1.2 million in revenue, how much was from data and how much was from consulting? What's it look like?
Well, my consulting leads to the projects, so I'm going to say that it's all from the data, but I wouldn't get the projects without the consulting. It's my business intelligence that I'm trying to bring to the patients at the end of the day that I want to derive most of the value from. But they wouldn't pay me that much just to look pretty and say some pretty words. So I went to AMCP, I went to NAMCP, I went to MANCP, which is the furry one, but also fun. So we've been present in the market for only 6-ish months, but I've been very hitting the ground hard with all the conferences trying to get people's attention. And also, these are all my clients from the past 10 years. I've been consulting. There might be, nope, this is for GSK, whatever. There's more stuff to show, but you didn't give me enough time. Want more?
Sorry.
Yeah. Anyone else?
All right, great job. Yeah. All right, and last but not least, we have Blue Wave.
All right, how many people here have taken antibiotics before? You take them, you get better, you go on, don't even think about it. Unfortunately, we're heading into a time where that may not be an option anymore. And just last year, a woman in Arizona died from a bacterial infection that was resistant to every type of antibiotic in the United States. And just recently, the CDC has announced new nightmare strains of bacteria that are resistant to the most powerful antibiotics we use only as a last resort. So at Blue Wave, we want to stop infections before they start. That's why we created the Blue Wave device. Let me show you how it works. Did the video already play? No. I'll walk you through it. We make a device. What we do is you put an item in here, and then say you have a teddy bear, your child with cystic fibrosis in a children's hospital. You can't have your toys because it's so fibrous, it's covered with bacteria. The first thing we do is we actually suck out all the air, we compress it, we reduce the volume to make it much faster to treat, and then we backfill high concentrations of ozone in there. Now the difference is we actually stretch and compress each individual pore in the item, and we force the ozone in there through our proprietary infusion technology and our real-time infusion calculations. Ozone is a tremendous disinfectant. It kills germs 3,200 times faster than bleach, but it's not good to breathe. So what we have done is made it a completely closed loop system, and we filter out all the excess ozone in the end. It's smaller and lighter right now. It's completely mobile in a doctor's office or a clinic, and we offer 5 different sizes for the external bags because our pilot study clinics, they use it on a wide variety of items. We sell the device for $4,000, but we also have multiple recurring revenue streams I'll tell you about. So the active ingredient ozone kills 99.9% of all bacteria, viruses, and fungi. It also destroys all the odors, which is a big selling point for a lot of our lead pilot studies. We filter everything out. It takes as little as 5 minutes. It doesn't use any water, detergents, or added chemicals. It is a completely dry process. It does not leave any chemical residue. You don't want your kids to chew on dry Clorox. And it also has wireless capabilities. It will be an IoT HIPAA-compliant device for the healthcare system. Now that recurring revenue stream we have with multiple items, it will get notified through the firmware over the air, and based on a subscription model, we can just keep sending it out to customers. And best of all, it has minimum workflow disruption in a clinic, so doctors and nurses can just focus on doing what they do best. Now, these are the current solutions out there for infection control. You have chemical disinfectants, which are labor-intensive, prone to human error. You're literally relying on the least paid employee in a hospital system to cover every single surface on an item, or else it's not effective. On the other end, you have autoclaves and high-end sterilizers that can cost anywhere up to $150,000 to $200,000. They are slow, energy-intensive, not mobile, and most items are not compatible because of the temperature required. So the Blue Wave, we're bridging the gap between chemical disinfectants and high-end sterilizers to address things in the environmental infection control arena that contributes to over $20 billion in the healthcare system every year. These are just some of the items that we can use it on for the environmental infection control arena. For example, just curtains in an ER have over a 95% contamination rate. A doctor comes in, has a glove on, touches the patient, touches the curtain again with his glove, goes to the next patient, takes off the glove down. But there's always contact there. And next time you go to the hospital, I don't want to freak you out, but that curtain has probably not been changed in months. So our testing, we have tested it against MRSA, Pseudomonas aeruginosa, which is the harder to kill E. coli, and Salmonella enteritis. Those metal carriers is on it's called a flat surface test for the EPA. So we've got full 6-log kills on those. The last one, the Salmonella, it was a 5.87 because we couldn't get the sample to stick on it, but it was a full kill. And then we said, look, flat surface carriers, UV lights, they treat surfaces. Our value proposition is through porous materials. So we tested again on 3-ply cotton. We got full 6-log kills again. And we're running a next batch of tests actually this Saturday. Our pilot study partners right now, we're live in 13 locations. We just closed some more sales this week. And one of them we're in talks with is Hanger Clinic. They're the largest orthotic and prosthetic provider in the country. They see over 650,000 patients per year. In our beachhead strategy right now, we are selling to clinics not just for the better outcome and quality of life for their patients, also for their staff themselves. That market potential is $24 million in devices alone, plus $3,200 in recurring revenue per device per year. That will also have bleed over effect to the 39,000 PT clinics and the 43,000 OT clinics. And right now, everyone that uses our device, the pilot study partners, they become sales champions for us too. They go to conferences to speak about us. That leads to inbound sales. Now, again, this is not the market potential for our product. We're only using this as a testing ground to go into the tailwind healthcare markets. We've already talked to healthcare systems, and we're going to be using large medical device companies as a strategic to use their large sales network to sell our product. We're targeting $1.8 million of revenue in 2019, and we actually just closed and oversubscribed our seed round. We opened up a $2 million C2 because of really high investor demand, and that will allow us to get our EPA claims, scale up our manufacturing to meet demand, and additional IP filing. The 3 co-founders have worked together for several years at another startup, and thank you.
Okay. Can you talk a little bit about the technology behind it? Where was it developed? Is it defensible?
Sorry about the video didn't work. So we, the co-founders, ourselves, we created it. We own the patent. We did a PCT filing, and now after the PCT, we filed in the national stages in 9 countries and territories. We're just now starting to get office actions back. So it is a utility patent, and with this 2 million seed round, we're going to be filing additional design patents and additional utility patents on the technology to make it even more unique and defensible. So it is a very unique technology.
I think I've seen you pitch before. Yeah.
It was 3 months ago. It's been a while, and since then we closed our round.
Good job. So can you just go back to the market sizing thing again? There's the beachhead market. So I want to see. So you're saying 24 million device market potential. That means you can sell $24 million of devices or 24 million devices?
24 million is the dollar sign right here cut off.
Okay. So how many devices is that?
So that is $3,000. That's 6,000 devices.
At
$4,000 each.
okay, so it doubles if you. Okay, that's what I remember.
Some clinics have 12 clinicians. Some have 1. So there's a blend of we're averaging 2 per location.
And how do you sell? Like, what is the channel that? What do hospitals currently use for sanitation? So, like,
So hospitals right now use chemical disinfectants, and then they use autoclaves, but those are for like ORs. You know, those for endoscopes, like surgery. Right now, mostly it's just chemical disinfectants. Sometimes they use UV in rooms, but again, UV only works on the surface. Anything in the shadows, it will not work.
so you're proposing to the hospitals that they sell this product or they use this product on things like their curtains. Is that-
Curtains, stethoscopes, iPads in the nursing station, scrubs. They could potentially have one in the hospital room where for a family to visit. Could be in the locker rooms.
But not the stuff they use the autoclave for currently.
Potentially, you could. We looked at that earlier on, but we're a startup. We had to look at the path of least resistance. We didn't want to go against Johnson & Johnson, going against these billion-dollar companies that sell those things. So we're positioning ourselves as a complement to an autoclave or a high-end sterilizer, where it will give us, say, hey, these guys are doing this thing. It's a great complement to an autoclave. That will allow us the best, probably potential for an acquisition.
And do you have any data on how you change, let's say, patient outcomes or cost for the hospital that suggests that this is positive ROI for the hospital?
See, not yet. We are having those conversations with the infection control arena. So we have to finish our EPA claims first to be able to start those tests. But we are about to enter a Mayo Clinic accelerator to be able to help those clinical trials come.
Cool, okay.
Thank you. What's the sort of throughput of any one machine? I mean, you talked about, the kid's toy, but how long does that take to sterilize? I mean, I'm just thinking of, parents and visiting time, and there's 20 of them lined up.
So right
each
now,
with toys.
Right now there's 2 settings. There's a 5-minute setting, and that enables the guy that's a 3.87 log kill, so it's 99.9998, something like that. It's higher than a 99.9% kill.
High.
Only 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Then there's a super cycle for things that are really foul. So if a patient in wound care or that has like an open wound under foot, that they wear like a brace or something, we'd recommend to use that for like a 20-minute setting, and that's where we got the 6 log kills from.
So it's pretty restrictive in terms of getting items through it.
So those are the 2 settings that we ran the test on because just limited
Right.
budget. Now we're doing the next round of tests, so we're waiting to close the seed round to do the next round of tests. And now we're going to test the different variables. Now we can test different time settings and different items in there to see where's that sweet spot to get that kill to say we can have a sanitization company.
I was just trying to work out how many a typical hospital would need, and it sounds like a lot. I know hospitals vary in size.
The goal
but
is to sell a lot of these things. You know, like there's other ozone cleaners out there that are like closet sizes. They're not really for the medical setting. But the good thing about our technology is it is very scalable. We can make the bags and the tree board, make it an enclosed unit much bigger, or we can make it much smaller.
Could you make it a room-sized setting almost?
So in theory, yes, potentially, but that will take additional infrastructure and testing. And right now, we're focused on the differentiating factor being small and mobile right now.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else?
All right. Thank you very much to everybody who pitched. So we're going to take a couple minutes. We're going to let the judges deliberate. So hang out, talk about what you've seen. There's some cookies and some drinks up the back, and we'll be back with you in just a couple minutes. All right. So the judges have deliberated, and the winner is Blue Wave. Congrats, Justin. So as the winner, you're going to get admission to HubSpot for Startups, which is 90% off of their enterprise level product. You're going to get 6 months of free MailJet email marketing services. You're going to get a free 1-hour consultation with Slide UX, a top leading user design firm. And you're also going to get 750 credits to Seed Lawyers, which is on-demand legal services.
Awesome.
Yep. And one of our newest partners is Effortless, which is CPA software, and you'll get 6 free months to them. Right. And the participants, you are also going to get 3 months of free MailJet services, 6 months free to Effortless, a 1-hour consultation with Slide UX, and also 150 credits to Seed Lawyers. Yep. Thank you. Yep. Thank you to the partners. Again, Nomadworks. They provided the free day passes for all of you, and you get, you arrived late. You didn't hear the announcement. You also get 2 free weeks for 2 members to Nomadworks. Yep. And then also a special thank you to Real BC. Mike, he's the cameraman. He's been live streaming the whole event. So you can go to realbc.tv and watch the replay, and some of the other pitch and events are also up there. So hang out, network. We've got the space for a while, and thank you guys so much.